conference will now be recorded.
If I lose next week, I got to come in here and face you. I am accountable to you. That is the number one goal. Not only my accountability, but here to answer your questions. So you have one-on-one contact with me to help you become a profitable sports bettor as well. Bottom line, let's look back. Last 3 days, what have we done? The shortest sample size, the last 3 days. Okay, we are +1 unit, +1 unit. Okay, profitable. That we lost a little bit with that under on that 4% play last night. That pissed me off by half a run, but profitable in a very short term. 7 days. Let's go back 7 days. Very nice, +13.66 units. So since we about met last, we picked up another 13.6 units with a 10% ROI. Remember, that's not sustainable. Our long-term ROI is about 5%. That's more than enough to gain substantial wealth over time. Just research that a little bit. A 5% long-term ROI. I've said it since I started at WagerTalk with the first videos I did. I moved steam for a very long time in different markets for the sharpest groups on the planet. And long-term, there are 5% ROI groups. Sure, some seasons, some months, some years, they're up, down, what have you. But for the most part, long-term, that's what you could expect. So 7 days, very good. Let's go 30 days. 30 days, +32 units, +3% ROI. I like that. That's very sustainable, extremely sustainable. We picked up 30 units with a 3% ROI, and we placed what? About 300 bets to do that. I will take that over and over and over again. Oh, you are just printing money if we could just sustain that over and over and over again. And finally, what are we for the year, which matters most? We are at 244.77. I believe, again, up what since last week? 13, 15 more units. And more importantly, even a $25 a unit better. As I tweeted, go check it out at Greek_Gambler, $25 per unit. Take to 125, up over 6 dimes. If you're sharp and you close in a year and information costs you that dime or even less, like Johnny's hooking up, then you've already 50% ROI on your bankroll already just 6 months in. If you just followed my recommendation, not over betting, not under betting, hot streaks, cold streaks, up, down, winning 5%, losing 5%. It doesn't matter. Less than 6 full months, you would have had 50% on your bankroll. You started with 20 grand, you'd have 30. You started with 50 grand, you'd have 75. You started with 5,000, you'd have 7,500. You started with 100 dimes, you'd have 150 dimes. By following the recommendation, it's very simple. Here's how we bet. 1% to 5%. That reflects the strength of the play, not the bet size. Our bet size is 0.25 of each of those. So in a 1% play, we're betting 0.25% of our bankroll. A 2% play, 0.5% of our bankroll, a 0.5%. A 3% play, 0.75 of our bankroll, so a 0.75% of our bankroll. A 4% play, we're betting 1% of our bankroll, and the most we're ever betting on a 5% play is 1.25% of our bankroll. That's why even when we lost those two, still stings a little, back-to-back 5% plays where we had a lead over 8.5 and we had 8 runs in the 3rd inning and it didn't go over, and we had what, over 5.5 goals, and it was 3-2 going into the 3rd period. We're in the 3rd period with no extra goal, and we lost them. That's a 20+ unit swing in 2 bets, 20+ unit swing. And we're fine. We are sitting just fine. But if you overbet those because they were 5% plays, you're not. If you made them more significant than you needed it to be, you're not up. That's just the bottom line. Again, that the only way I could guarantee you're going to make money and profit is just sticking to the rules. Keep it simple, man. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. So far, so good. We're up over the last 7 days since we last met. And more importantly, we're adding to our 2023 overall bankroll. That way, when the year is over, we reassess, we set up our units again, and we go 12 more months. Hopefully, we have another great 6 months like we did this year, and you reassess at the end of June and say, hey, maybe I increase a slightly, not double up, but slightly, if you've done what we have over the last 6 months. Again, my goal is to help you grow exponentially, exactly the way I did it. Next up, let me grab some stuff that I wanted to make sure we talked about, and also, more importantly, answer a lot of your questions. Again, today we have 4 NBA games remaining. They're all 3% plays, less than 1% of your bankroll on each of them. That's the bottom line. We're going to grind with the WNBA. We have good sources of information. I actually do a little work myself with that. So we'll be playing it sporadically throughout the summer, and Major League Baseball, more importantly, in the second half. That's when we really heat up with baseball. That's why I enjoy this lull. We really have, look, today, 2 plays. Be happy. We'll have more volume as all the attention starts to shift to football, and we're able to take more positions because there's more value going to be there for us in baseball. Again, right now, every sharp is betting baseball. We're competing with every other sharps out there for these numbers. Look, I missed the Miami number. We don't bet it. There's other guys that did. Not saying it's going to win or anything like that, but the simple fact that we're not working together, and if I miss a number, I'm never going to have you guys take the worst of it. That's just not going to happen. Let me check again to see if anything's come in. I don't think so. I don't think we'll have much tonight, unless I'll keep checking for any of the draft props coming in. And I'll share you these UFC plays too. I'll share you these UFC plays, and what I'm going to do is go through the UFC card. I believe as of right now, what are we sitting on? I think we only got 2 plays, right? We have the big play on Emmers, which was a 5% play. I needed to send that out right away. The truth is, we actually taped UFC on the Line for this week's UFC a week prior when we did the last UFC. And there weren't even props out or anything like that. We only had sides to work with. And I narrowed it down to Emmers as my strongest play. We get $1,000 bankroll. I put 70% of it on Emmers, and I only had like three plays. I bet 700, 200, and 100 as my bets for that show. Again, we did it. We taped it like 2 weeks out, and I still had a lot of work still to do. Fortunately, the more work I did, the more I liked Emmers. I send out Emmers, bet them, and to my happiness, get one of the guys I respect in the MMA space most, you guys know, Andrew Gombis, good friend of mine, sends me Emmers and says, hey, what's the line? Can you get down on Emmers? I said, brother, I already got down. So, yeah, we got good number there. And knowing that the sharp guys that I respect came in on the same side makes me feel even better. In fact, I'm comfortable betting it all the way up to -200 where it sits now. And then we have the small bet on Terman, but I'm going to go through the card quickly and give you the sharp sides that I am aware of right now, any of the stuff that I've even moved for some of the MMA groups I work with. And again, I'm still working on my card, and you guys know, as I confirm, I send those plays to each of you. Now, the one thing I need you to understand also in this room, you need to come with questions. When football comes, we'll have the screen up because we'll be leading into the games like an hour before, 2 hours. I say we're probably going to be 2 to 3 hours before kickoff and cut off an hour before kickoff. So I have at least 30, 40 minutes on my own to just focus on what I have to focus to send out some late stuff. But we'll be together for like an hour, 90 minutes, maybe even 2 hours. And we'll be covering all the NFL or Saturday's college football. And I'll share as much information as I can, even on stuff, that we're not using as premium plays, stuff that you may have leans on. But other than that, you need to come with questions. Don't be shy. Again, I won't even say your names. It doesn't matter. The only one seeing this is me. That's why I made sure it's set up like that. So you could ask whatever it is. There's no such thing as a foolish question. We take the word ignorant as being something bad. It's not. We're all ignorant until we're taught something, until we learn something. That's just human nature. You can't automatically know something. I've been doing this for 30 years, plus years, nothing else but this. So the vocabulary, that just comes natural. You guys are all gaining experience. With the trader you are today, 6 months from now, by coming to this room like you're doing, oh my God, you're going to be leaps and bounds, so much sharper than you are now. The stuff that I'm telling you is going to become automatic. That's why it's repetitive. And the guys that don't want to hear it, fine, let them do what they want to do. I'm telling you, this is what made me successful, because I hung around a room just like this, where it was nothing but movers and runners, traders like us, who talked about trading and reminded each other how to be profitable. And that's all you talked about, bankroll management. There's nothing else to talk about. The mistakes you made, the inner demons that you're fighting. But again, I'm here to answer all your questions. So I'm going to scroll through real quickly, and then we'll go on to the next move. Just think so I don't fall behind on these questions. Perfect. He's in England. Great question. Great question. A gentleman asked that. He's in Europe, and a lot of times the books that he's using offer him a better number than what I'm releasing at. Please keep in mind, I try to be as fair as I possibly can. My only goal is for you to make money. If you don't make money and you're not profitable, then this is a failure. Like, I'm already doing this. There's no benefit to me at the end of the year for me to say, hey, I'm up 300 units, and for you guys to have just paid subscriptions. I don't need that. I'd be selling packages if I needed that. I don't want that. I want guys like you that are serious, women and men like you that are serious, that are in here, that are putting hard-earned money, and I'm going to make sure you make it profitable. But you're going to have to play along. I did it with trading, and it's changed my life, listening to a mentor who I understood knew the freaking game, and it's rubbed off on me. And now I consider myself a decent trader, not a master trader yet in equities and crypto and commodities, but I'm a good one. I'm becoming better every freaking day, I'll tell you that. And I'll be a master trader before you know it, just like in sports. With that said, the question is, if he has a better number, should he increase his bet? That everyone's risk management differs. I personally would say that's the time that you have a good reason to increase your bet. The other reasons don't exist. Like, if you're behind, if you're ahead, if you're trying to make more, those aren't reasons. That's emotion. This is actual opportunity where the price is giving you more value, therefore it warrants a bigger bet. I'm 100 on board with that. The only caution I would add is make sure your money management skill set is in check. If you're going to start, going a little off, a little further than 1%, 1.25, make sure that you are very disciplined, because your money management will be the most important aspect of this entire venture. The picks are going to do what they're going to do. I promise you that. I deal with multiple groups in multiple sports. I've done it for a very long time. They're going to win, they're going to lose. When all the dust settles, they're going to have one. We're all together going to have one more bets than we're lost, and the units are going to be there as profit. That much I know. But to get you there, you're going to have to manage your bankroll, because along the way, we will have losing weeks. We will even have losing months. I have to prepare you for that. That's part of being a winning trader. That's fine. Like you need, that's why I was talking about how you could grow your account so much quicker if you're treating it like a business. Now, if you're using it for your expenses and your entertainment, and you're taking money out when you're winning, then yeah, your bankroll will never grow where it possibly could. And a cold streak's going to wipe you out. You can't do that. What I'm saying is the bankroll you have to take advantage of these inefficiencies in the market that we're finding these winning trades day in and day out. We will, even with solid trades, we will have losing days, losing weeks, and losing months, just because there's a randomness to a short-term sample size. Again, I will be repetitive, but we flip a coin right now. I give you 10-1. You have to take that bet. You may lose if we flip it once. You may lose. You can't conclude it was a bad bet because you lost. You made a great bet, but you can still lose in the short term. That's why you manage risk correctly. You overcome that short-term variance, and you're able to profit from your edge. You never get there unless you manage risk correctly. Like I've said with card counting, I could teach anyone to count cards. If they could add, subtract, multiply, and divide and are driven, I could teach them within months how to be dangerous card counters, winning card counters. Now, if they have to be able to pull it off in a casino setting, and with the emotions that come with losing real money on good bets, that's going to happen. On some of their biggest bets, the dealer's going to pull a 20 on them when they have a 19, a great hand, and the dealer's still going to pull a 20, or they're going to have a 20 and the dealer's going to flip a blackjack. That's going to happen. And if they get emotional in that next hand, when the math and the system says, oh, now you got to go back to minimum bet, we got to work our way up. If you don't have the discipline to do that, that card counting does nothing for you. You don't have an edge. You know how to count cards, but you can't make money with it. It's not profitable for you, because you need the risk management to go with it. That's what I've been trying to explain in WagerTalk now for 5 years. At the end of the year, look, I'm profitable. And I know so many people that signed up weren't, because they managed risk incorrectly. So it was time to create a room just like this that's for the serious bettor that is actually risking real money and doesn't have to lose it. That's why we don't advertise short-term streaks, man. We're here to win long-term for you. All right, let's keep going. Let me get these questions. Thank you, JB, man. I really appreciate that. As you can see, our numbers are up. Well, I'm proud, yes. Yeah, there is. And I know as far as daily fantasy sports, I know there's a lot of money in it. Like I tried to explain, I just never got into it. I never got into fantasy sports. And I knew enough with sports betting how hard it is to beat the market that I'm lucky I finally had an edge here. The thought that I'm going to go there and do the same thing, my ego didn't allow for it. Like I realized, like, what am I? I'm the smartest guy in the world. Like, if I'm going to beat sides and totals in multiple markets, that's not hard enough. I learned, to advantage play with blackjack, and now I'm going to try, and that's helped me do trading equities and stuff like that, thankfully. But now to get into DFS, where I know there's betting syndicates and wise guys and algorithms and very sharp bettors, investors, I just realized, listen, it's not something I'm going to take on. And I don't do things like that for leisure. If I'm going to spend money, invest money, it's not going to be to gamble. That's not fun for me. I'll go on vacation. I'll do other things. Gambling to me isn't fun, to be honest with you. Like, I did it so much young, it's not fun. It like that, the idea of going to gamble to me isn't fun. If I don't have an edge, I don't even want to play. I have no temptation. But with that said, I love it. I respect anyone that's doing well with it, and I urge them to keep doing it. Like I said, I know there's money in it, and more importantly, what I learned yesterday from Brett Appley that I did not know, he said about 15% of DFS players are profitable long term. That's 15x sports betting. So I get it. I guess your odds of being a winning daily fantasy sports bettor is greater than being a winning sports bettor. That much is factual by the data that Brett shared with me. So yeah, I urge anyone to get into it. It was just not my era. Again, when fantasy sports started, when I was grinding, the guys that did fantasy sports were guys that didn't bet every day. They did like fantasy football. They looked forward to it once a year. That was their action on Sundays. It wasn't like the guys that were betting. We even used to joke, like for the guys that can't lay 11 to 10, we used to kid. Now it's become like this monster. So the joke's on us at the end. But again, it's past my expertise. And I check my ego at the door. I know what I'm good at. I know what I could beat and what I can't. And if I'm going to be able to beat this, then why am I not trying to cure cancer? The fuck am I doing wasting my time betting sports and gambling? Like, what am I, an idiot? If you're that capable, do something better than that. So yeah, that's the only reason I haven't dabbled, but I urge you guys to dabble with it if you're finding yourself profitable, or if you're having fun with it as entertainment. If you're not beating it and you're trying to, be cautious. Like I said, there's betting syndicates, there's algorithms. It's not as easy to beat by just following sports. Like we were talking with Brett before he actually got on the interview. Guys think just because they know everything about a sport, he said, and watch day and night nothing but the sport, that they're going to be great fantasy guys. Little do they know, it's the guys that are good in math that never even watch sports, but actually understand statistics and math are ended up being the best fantasy players. And it makes sense to me since it's all data driven. You're betting on players' stats. Next up. I'm not, Rob, what do I think about the Mariners line? I'm not concerned. The fact that they moved to 120 says a lot to me because it's against the Yankees. You got to know that a team like the Yankees is going to get public money. Rest assured. Even with sharp bettors, we're on Seattle. I know another group on Seattle. There's more than enough public money on a team like the Yankees to balance that out, to offset that at times. More importantly, there's also a lot of scalping going on by a lot of these groups that I'm even working with. Like if they see a free scalp, they're going to take it. If they got Seattle at plus 105, 101, and now they could get the Yankees at plus 103, they're going to lock up some of their bet on that because now they got 2 tickets with plus money. That's a guaranteed winner. Anytime, nobody ever went broke taking a profit. There's a fantasy out there in gambling Twitter that you throw out these cliches because people keep hearing them over and over, and they think like it actually is true. Like, oh, you don't hedge, that's giving up equity. Shut the fuck up. You're in the real world where people have bills, people have fucking shit to pay. Money matters. You're not betting units. It's not internet clout. It's not about fucking tweeting out what you're up year to date. It's actual cash, hard-earned cash, money. And if you could lock in a profit, why wouldn't you? In fact, right here, great book I'm reading at the time, Jesse Livermore. Oh, world's greatest stock trader. He actually was. Top 5 for sure. Great book. That he talks about that all the time. No one ever went broke taking a profit. Tops and bottoms are a fool's game. Like if you think you're going to nail every top, nail every bottom, that's a fool's game. You're not. So again, if you could lock in profit, do it. And a lot of times when you have the ability to move a line that significantly and you could lock in a profit on the other side, they're going to do it. I've done it many times. Just because why not take that free money, especially as your confidence in that side may wane throughout the day or throughout the week if you have like an NFL side or something like that. Is there a rule of thumb we can use? So great question on that. Again, I'm not afraid, Rob, about the movement at all. On the Seattle Yankee side, I expected it. The fact that the Mariners side got that respect to where you could get nice plus money on the Yankees confirmed to me that it was the sharp trade. And after that, what happens, I can't control. And I think we're just seeing Yankees money, which I'm not surprised. The Yankees, what are they? They're at home dog pretty much. Yeah, if the Yankees at a pick 'em or home dog don't get money, against a pitcher with not much history, I don't know too much that will. So I think that's what the case there. Next, Michael, if there's a rule of thumb we can use if we don't get your exact lines in juice, for example, if it has a line in the NFL of 3 and we can only find 3.5, then should we stay off? An NBA total under 240, we can only find 239. Should we stay off? Great question. Great question. Everyone's risk tolerance differs. Now, that's not a stock answer. That's just the truth. There's some people that, again, will take a little more risk and are fine with it, are okay with it. Others will take a little more risk, it not turn out well, and it be devastating for them. In that case, no. I say this, you should never take the worst of it, meaning we have enough volume. We bet enough markets. I make sure of it, that you should never have to take the worst of it. If I go under 240 on an NBA game for 3% and you go under 239 for 3%, you're not taking the worst of it. If they're expecting 240 plus points to be scored, every point doesn't mean all that much. In that case, and it's a 3% bet, you're not taking the worst of it. Sure. But if I'm laying -3 in an NFL game, and for whatever reason, you're at work, you're tied up, you had a doctor's appointment, and by the time you log in, it's 3.5, you're taking the worst of it now. We do not have the same bet anymore. We know the highest probability of NFL games is to land on 3. If that happens, which is highly probable, I'm going to push, you're going to lose. If you place that wager, you're taking the worst of it. I urge you never to do that. And my caveat, is that the word, is more importantly, you never have to. There's no reason to. Like, there's going to be another trade. I can't stress that enough. There's always going to be another trade. I keep bringing it back to the stock market because all markets are the same. It's you're trading on people's fear and greed. That's all it is. It's emotion. The reason patterns always repeat themselves in the stock market and in the sports betting market is because human nature never doesn't change. At least this version of the evolution of human nature, these last couple hundred years, we don't change. We repeat the same patterns over and over again. It's just human nature, fear and greed, fear and greed, fear and greed. And you're seeing it right now with cryptocurrencies and in the stock market, just like you saw 2 years ago. And we're still doing on sports, so I will not get to that yet. But towards the end, I will say, if you want to stick around, we will talk some stocks, and I'll pull up the Bitcoin charts as well and talk some things there. If anyone's interested, ask any questions. Again, I've done very well for myself trading over the last 2 years, and I'd love to share anything I've learned and any information I can with you guys. So that's what I would say. I wouldn't say there's a rule of thumb. I would say create your own rule of thumb. Like I'm not going to go take more than 2% off of a money line. Just mark that down. You know, say, okay, maybe he's got a 10% edge. I'm willing to give up 3% of that. I'll never give more than 3% on the money line. So if he gives out minus 240, what's that going to be? 3% of minus 240, whatever that comes out to, brother. If it's higher than that, don't lay it. I say, again, anytime you could trade, make rules instead of just going off gut and emotion, you will do so much better. Or make it even simpler. If you really want to make it really easy for yourself, never take a bad number. And if it's different than what I'm sending you, it's not the best number. That much you can be sure of. Even if you're not 100% sure it's a bad number, if it's not what I sent out, then it's not the best number. And make it your rule. I only take the best numbers. On every bet, you're only going to take the best number. I'm only going to take the best trades. Just like I said, now I'm only going to bet the 4% or just the 3 and 4s. I won't bet any 1 or 2s, only 3, 4s, and 5s. Create your rules and stick to them. Not in the short term, in the long term. Because in the short term, you're going to get variance, good and bad. And don't let that form your opinion. That's the mistake most people make. That's where we take advantage. We take advantage of emotion. We trade against that. That's how we make our money. Trading against human emotion. That's what we need to master. And again, as far as the information, you've seen that now for how many years? It's only gotten better and stronger. I'm only dealing with sharper and sharper groups. Like in this business, you only go higher and higher in the food chain if you're driven and that's your goal. And that's been my goal. So as you can see, the stuff I've been given is only getting better, not weaker. It's getting stronger. So you don't have to worry about that. And that's why we gave out a 5% play with 30 minutes before the game started. Again, I'm not here to sell packages. That game wasn't for sale. It went out to subscribers who are here for the long term, because if it lost, it shouldn't have made a difference anyway. It should have been 1.25% of your bankroll. Yeah, it would have sucked. It would have stung. It would have pissed me off as well, but it shouldn't have been significant. It shouldn't have been freaking life-changing. It shouldn't have been even week-changing. It shouldn't affect you more than 1.25%. If it does, you're doing it wrong. And if you're doing it wrong, I can't help you. I will do everything in my power, and this is answering Michael's question about what numbers to take. I will do everything in my power to guarantee every single person in this room is profitable, that this subscription is profitable for them. But that's only going to happen if you follow the rules. The only time I've ever lost money is when I've broken my own rules. Over the last decade, since I've learned to win in blackjack, in sports, and now trading, the only time I've ever lost money is when I've broken my own rules. It's not the market's fault. It's never been the casino's fault. It's never been the dealer's fault. It's never been the deck of cards' fault. It's never been a bad beat's fault. It's always been my fault. Always been my fault, because I broke one of my rules. It's never been the blame of the market. The market's always right. At the end, it's always going to be right. It's going to do what it's going to do. That's what markets do. They don't have a conscience. They don't care. They do not care. We create that consciousness in the market with our fear and our greed. The market is an unconscious being. That's what it does. It reacts to us. It reacts to our fear and greed. You see it every day with those charts up and down in the stock market. That's fear and greed versus institutions that know how to channel that fear and greed. And we're the institutions. In this racket, sports betting, the people in this room, we're the institutions. We're the ones offering the options that I spoke about last week. How 99% of options are offered by institutions, and they make the most money when the option expires at that price, where the public loses the most money. And by coincidence, the price always gets driven there. That's us in this room. You're the institutions. So as long as you follow the rules, you'll be fine. And I just think make it simple and don't take a different number. Or if you're going to take a different number, make sure you know you're not taking the worst of it. And you'll learn that by being around sharp people, coming to the chat where I start sharing about what numbers matter, what numbers in the NFL. So 2 weeks, I gave you 5-10 numbers that in the NBA that matter, that cost 21 cents instead of minus 120. Got to write that stuff down. Have a little pad and paper, look like I do, like my trading journal, and write that stuff down until it all becomes, look, these are all posted of stuff that I just, till it becomes in my head, they're all right here. Until it becomes driven in my head. This is the new one. I need this driven in my head for this NFL season. So here's what I wrote. A 3-team 6-point teaser at plus 180 is equivalent to a 2-team 6-point teaser at even money. If I use the Wong numbers, I'll have a 5.3% edge this football season. That's what I'm trying to ingrain in my head between now and August. That. So when I see it available, I react. And I repeat this to myself every day. Every day. I swear to you. Every day I repeat it to myself. Just like I did the Pythagorean wins and losses, just like I did the plus EV. And I know people say, oh, that's lame, that's nerd, that's bullshit. Yeah. Keep watching ESPN, keep watching games, tell me how you're doing. I'll tell you how I'm doing. Again, the harder you work, the luckier you're gonna get. That much I promise you. So create rules for yourself instead of trading on emotion, which is pretty much what most people do. Most people are betting their opinions, their predictions, and their emotions. That's what they're betting. They're not betting inefficient numbers. They're not comparing the money line to the point spread to see, is it off? Is that what it should be? Is that what the total is at the sharpest books? Like, they're not doing any of that. They're betting their opinions. They're betting their predictions, and they're betting their emotions. That's why we're able to win. It's the only reason we're able to win. As long as they keep doing that, we're safe. We're fine. We are okay. Let them keep watching those shows, those preview shows, those pregame shows, all that stuff that's making them sharper. Make sure they keep watching that stuff. And they keep betting opinions, betting predictions, and betting emotions. Just keep doing those things. And we'll just keep betting inefficient numbers and nothing else. We'll be boring. It's going to suck. It's going to be boring. We're going to do boring shit. But then you'll be profitable and go do fun shit with it. I promise you. Well, it'll be better. Your fun will come with the profit you're making, not with your gambling bullshit. And then gamble for fun. Go take money you could burn. You know what? I've made scores like that where I've said I'm going to go gamble with $2,000 at the craps table, and I've left there with like 10 dimes because it didn't matter. I was gambling. I knew I had the worst of it. I was pressing. I was, sure, probably more times than not, I lost. What I'm saying is, I've left there with cash as well. If that's what you're doing, we're not doing that here. So I'm going to keep repeating that over and over and over and over again. Next up, is the NFL Wong teaser more profitable in the preseason? Notice last year that a good amount of spots were available, and with the low totals, it would seem to be it's even more plus CP. Any thoughts? Great question, Grant. Unless I know the fact, I'm not going to tell you. My opinion would say yes. But also, I don't know if there's more volatility. If there's more volatility, no. See, you don't want volatility. That's the key. That's why teasers aren't profitable. Let me explain to you why most teasers aren't profitable. Because the average NFL game ends a little more than 10 points off the point spread. Meaning, if you took the last 10,000 NFL games, the average final score is 10 points off of what the point spread was. So a team that the average should win by 13, they've actually won by 3. Even though we think the NFL they're the sharpest, they're still a little over 10 points off the average week by week. Some week 2 is higher than week 1, but it's by slight tenths of a percentage point. But it's right around 10% off of the actual number. That's a lot. That's a lot. And you're only getting what, 6, 6.5, and 7 points on a teaser. The average NFL game ends 10 points off the spread. A teaser gives you up to 7 points on the number. That's why it's very hard to beat it. But with the Wong system, you're taking it a step further by only using it through those numbers that games land on the most, upping that probability, because we know games land the most on 3, then on 7. So if I'm able to tease through that 3, tease through that 7, those games I expect to fall closer to that than 10 or more points. You see where I'm going with that? And because of the amount of games that fall within those numbers, most fall within 3, then within 7. And that's the likelihood of the Wong teaser and why it gives us that edge. With that said, books have defended it by increasing the juice. And that's exactly another perfect example of where even if you have the right side, if you don't have the right number, it doesn't matter. It makes no difference. Meaning the Wong teaser gives you an edge, but if the book charges you minus 140, that edge is gone. That's why I tell bettors, don't buy points unless you know what they're worth. Because if you go from a minus 4.5 to a minus 4, and you think you now have minus 4, you don't. You have minus 4, minus 120. So what you have is minus 4.5, minus 110. It's just in your mind, you think you have a 4. Because if it lands there, you're going to push. And over the long term, though, what you have is 4.5 minus 110. That's why they're giving it to you at that, because it's not helping you. And I don't mean, that's just an arbitrary number in an arbitrary sport. Because again, 4 is a key number in particular sports. So I don't need any of the data guys to be like, what are you talking about? 4 is not a dead number. No, I know 4 is a key number in particular spots. I'm picking an arbitrary number in an arbitrary sport. That's all I'm trying to explain. So that's why with the Wong teaser, as far as the preseason, again, I'm glad you asked that, and I'm going to check on that preseason teasers and also see what the limits are on them, and if there's any history. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a good point, especially if you said last year you noticed some trends. It's worth looking into. I'm always willing to look into it. Also, what did you see in the Twins baseball last night? More back myself didn't see because I leaned Boston at first. Oh, do I even remember what? Wow, why I even bet the Twins yesterday? I'd have to go back, Rob. I don't even want to bullshit you, man. I have the 5 same reasons I bet games. So pretty much in every market, it just adjusts a little what I look at based on the sport. But I approach it the same way, meaning my network, the analytics, I trade mean regression, I trade price action. Those are the things that lead me to my confirmation. And if they were a 3% play, then 3 of those boxes checked off, whether it was my analytics, price action, my network, I'm even forgetting right now, my 5, which because it's that freaking automatic for me. And that's it. That's pretty much how I end up doing it. But as far as the Twins, where were the Twins yesterday? Now it's sticking out to me. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. Let's look in 1 second. Why not? See what, if anything, stuck out. Let's look at that game real quick. Give me 1 second. Let's pull this up. Yesterday's game with Boston. Oh, Gray and Whitlock. Oh yeah, well, number one, I like that Gray. Gray definitely had to have been a main driver of that for sure. Yeah, you see his work at home has been fire. Let me see what I saw negative with Whitlock. Yeah, oh, there's a small sample size there, okay? Before he got rocked. 2-2. Yeah, average pitcher. Yeah, I don't see a reason. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I see reasons to bet Minnesota. Number one, the starting pitching for sure. Number two, they were home. Number three, let me see this matters even as much too. Where are the standings? Let me look at my own. Boston's at 51. Yeah, Boston's won more than they should already based on my Pythagorean. So again, they're overvalued team in that slot for me. Let me see if Minnesota's in my undervalued slot. Where are they at? Oh, they're a 500 team, and I have them expected to be a 54% team. 50. Yeah, and they're playing behind. Yeah, everything. Oh, the analytic checked off for sure. The starting pitching matchup, as well as Boston playing above their expectations, Minnesota playing below their expectations, playing at home as well. We definitely had that going for us. Okay. And I'm sure there was some price action also. And I don't remember if one of my groups that I moved baseball for came in on them, but that would be 3 of the 5 for sure. So yeah, there's some reasons there. Again, I could go back and tell you why I bet anything if I just look at some of the box score or the closing line. That's why to me, I do nothing but that, man. Like I follow a lot of price action. I think price action is one of the most overlooked, helpful factors to like signal trades that sports bettors overlook, because they think if by following price action, they're following steam and taking the worst of it. And that's not what it means at all. No, Rob, please ask. No, thank you. See, I forgot. I went back. No. And that's why I wanted to see. That's what stuck out. That Boston, my Pythagorean wins and losses, had them expected to have less wins than they already do, where the opposite's true for Minnesota. I also like Gray as their stud starter, pitching at home, where he's done really well. So those things lined up. And again, I'm sure the price action, maybe the network came in. So no, please, don't ever ask away. And don't ever feel you're going to insult me or offend me. I don't take anything personally. Listen, the one thing you can be sure of is our goal's the same. It's to be profitable. Like there's few times in life where you know your goals are aligned with someone else. You know our goals are aligned. I need to win in this room. Like it's important to me. You know that. I've let that. I hope that's shown to you guys how important that is to me. So yeah, I never take anything personally. It's like with my friends, I tell them, if you disagree with me or I say something, whatever, you don't tell me, please, or you have, please We could argue, we'll get to the bottom of it, then afterwards we'll go grab something to eat. It's all good, forget all about it, because I know our goals are aligned. You want the same things I do. So it isn't like an attack or anything like that. So bring it, please. Okay, do I have any books to recommend on sports betting? Great question. The problem, I'll tell you this about sports betting books, most markets continue to evolve, they change. And the principles, meaning that the way you're going to handicap it, changes. Because each year we're introduced to new analytics, we're introduced to a new stat, a new trend. So those things are constantly changing. And as a handicapper, you evolve your own style. What doesn't change are the things that actually separate a winning and losing bettors, like people that even have the ability to win, but why aren't they profitable? And unfortunately, those books aren't written. They'd all be the same. It would all be money management and all psychological books about keeping your once you first, it would be understanding markets, how markets work, and a great book for that is I'll tell you, give me a second real quick. I actually even have it on my Kindle. Hold on, because it was worth having. Oh shit, I'm not even signed in. Give me a second. This is good. There it is. Yeah, The Logic of Sports Bet. The Logic of Sports Betting. Ed Miller wrote it, and I can tell you with certainty, Ed Miller's as sharp as they come. Ed Miller works with a group that done a lot of damage with in-game stuff, and they're really sharp. They're ahead of their time. They get down and have done very well out here. That much I can tell you. And this is a very good book to explain about more or less how the markets work. Some of the things I think a lot of novice sports bettors take for granted. Is it going to help you win? No. Is it going to make you beat your books? No. But it will help you, teach you some things that'll help you from losing money. Actually, it will do that. Because again, anytime you learn what not to do, that's just as good as almost winning a bet. It's like passing when you would have lost. It's like winning a bet. So there's definitely enough stuff in there that I urge anyone to read it. It's The Logic of Sports Betting by Ed Miller. It's an easy read. Again, you get it on Kindle for $10 or get it on an audio book or paperback. Just listen to it a few times. If you're not going to read it, if you read it, I think you absorb it better. But I need to write everything down that I read. That's how I absorb. But if you absorb listening, audiobook it a few times, it's got good stuff in there. I'm telling you, like I said, I read it. I'm looking right now. I Googled best sports betting books, and out of all, because believe me, I've looked at so many. I can tell you right now. Let me do this real quick. Hold on. You guys gonna go for a ride with me? Where am I? All right. See, that's our bookshelves. That's all card counting and blackjack. I mean, card counting, sports and blackjack. And all the sports books, the ones with sports, are terrible. I tried them all, man. I did. There's, what do I got here? Sports investing, profiting from the point spread. All bullshit. All bull. It's all the same shit. I mean, I don't mean to knock anyone's book, please. What I'm saying is I like to read. So when a new sports betting book has been out there, I've gone through them quickly and stuff. Again, there's nothing that I would be like, if you read this, it's going to make you a sharper bettor. But The Logic of Sports Betting will help you understand a lot of things that happen with bringing out betting lines and how books create a profit for themselves, and the whole, just a lot of good information. yeah, that one is one I definitely have recommended to many of people in the past. Unfortunately, there's just not good stuff. Just like with card counting, that's what I found. I even went and found a Ken Houston book online that didn't have the binding, and I paid couple $100 for it because it's such a rarity. It was the $1 Million Man. He was actually on 60 Minutes in the 70s. Ken Houston. He sued Vegas and Atlantic City for throwing him out. He actually won in Atlantic City, lost out here, but won in Atlantic City. And that's why in Atlantic City, they're not able to throw out card counters. Instead, they limit you or they shuffle the deck on you, and that forces you to leave. But Ken Houston actually sued Atlantic City and won because he was barred for card counting. But originally, he was using a two-way communicator like a computer he had strapped to his leg. And that's how he was beating him. But eventually they learned the math behind what the computer was doing and did that as well. Anyway, make a long story short, I've read so many card counting books. They all give you a place to start, but everything else I had to learn by experience. That's the one thing you can't buy. You got to gain experience. That's why I urge bettors to come to this room. Over and over again, and especially you're not going to be able to make it every week, but when you can, jump in. Especially when we're doing NFL later, and when I do take a Saturday and dig deeper into MMA, and you're starting to see me place some bets, and you're seeing the numbers we're taking. All that stuff starts to become, like I said, muscle memory. Why do fighters go to the gym and throw the same combination 1,000 times? So it becomes second nature. It's repetitive by design, because the coach knows that's the only way it will become a muscle memory. It'll become automatic. It'll become like breathing. I'll never lay 3.5 when I should lay 3. It won't even cross my mind. I'll never bet 5% on a play. It doesn't even cross my mind because it's already in your subconscious. It's already built in you what you do from it over and over and over and over again. Now, is it better to do Wong teaser 6.3 team plus 180 or 2 teams minus 120? Oh, 6 point plus 180, 100%. 16 plus 180. If you could get it, absolutely. If you could get it, 100%. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, just making sure if it's any, no, just saying that no new NBA stuff coming in, no draft stuff. Oh, the other thing I needed to add too, because a lot of people have been sending in emails to support, so I need to share this to you now. Okay, let me just get this straight so I make sure that you guys are able to take advantage of it. Oh, great. Okay. Guys. Okay. Yes. Yes. If you're on the call, or you signed up for a week, a month, and want to upgrade so that it's cheaper for you, or you want to upgrade so that you're able to come to the room as often as you like. And like I said, I am offering to be here for you guys multiple times when the NFL season starts and we have a lot more markets to cover. Right now, like there's nothing going on tonight. Like I don't want to waste your time or mine, but these now in the summer give us time to cover the shit that actually is going to really help us turn that information on those Saturdays and Sundays into money by bet sizing correctly, not making those mistakes. But make sure if you're going to want to upgrade, they are going to apply whatever you've already spent towards your subscription. Like Johnny's trying to do everything he can, honestly, to get guys that are betting like money that warrants the subscription in the door as best he possibly can, because he knows that, like, once you come in, and as long as you do the right things, you're going to be happy. You will be satisfied. It will be profitable. So for Gianni's trying to do whatever he can to keep guys happy and get them in here. Because again, if you don't do this side of it, and I know it gets repetitive, and it's like, fuck, teach us how to win, teach us how to win. I get it. Slow down, and we will get to as much stuff as possible. But we have to make sure we understand the basics. And the basics are, we have winning information constantly. We only place the best trades. And when we do, we bet size correctly. We're going to have to keep repeating that over and over and over again till it's so obvious that it's the only thing that we do. We don't do anything else. And I won't have to ever mention it again. Let me see. Any books you still know locally or offshore to get NFL 6 point at even money? No, sir. No, I don't. No, I don't. I can't find any even money. I still find -110s. I got -110 6 point teasers, which again, I will take it. But I don't have any even money. I wish. The fact I'm not laying 130, I'm celebrating, because I'll tell you the truth, I have probably 30% -110s and the rest -120s and worse. And it's still profitable at -120, but I'm not as interested. We're looking for the better trades. And that's why I urge guys during football season, if you're not getting the best of it on the teasers, let them go. Don't tie up money on that stuff. Get your money invested in the strongest shell. Forget the little stuff. Put in the best stuff. And if you're laying 120, 25 on the teaser, you only have a small edge, and there's better spots I could get you in than that. Again, you'd be gambling and doing it for action, and we're not doing any of that here. Okay, let's look at tonight's game. Since you're asking, let's look at the Mariners game tonight. Oh, Miami's up 1-0, man. Yeah. Oh, the Seattle game started. Yeah, Miami's up 1-0. Again, I'm not going to take the over. I'll be honest with you. Even today, these days, 30 years later, I still get a little pissed when I miss a winning trade. That's just because the competitive drive in me. But I don't carry it with me. I promise you, I don't carry it with me at all. Oh, this is a German fade. Oh, it's the German fade. It's a joke. It's a group that's been fading German over and over and over again, saying how overvalued, overrated he is since that. What was his best season in 2020 or 21? Had this really good season. Anyway, I know for sure one of the groups I work with bet the Seattle side and bet them big. I only had another the price action confirmation, and because of how big they took a position, I made it a 3% play. Otherwise, it would have just been a 2% play, to be honest with you, on Seattle. I don't like betting against momentum too much. Again, I don't just jump on streaks, but even with stocks, same thing. I'm not big on going against momentum. And again, Seattle right now doesn't have the momentum. But I trust the groups that I work with, and I'm honest with you guys. You see, I never send out a 1% play, almost never. So I'll never just send it out because they send it to me. I don't do that. We don't need to anymore. We have more than enough volume. But sometimes it's just as simple as one or two or three factors to make it a 3% play. And like I tell you, that's why your bet size has to reflect small edges. Nothing's a lock. We're 55-45s, 57-43s, 53-47s. Just hover right around there. forever. You'll do so well in life at betting sports. Oh my God. Oh, if we miss a line, but then it becomes available to play at the odds you like, is it a good idea to take the bet? For example, in England, Marlins were minus 145 in play. Well, there's still no score. Okay. Here's what I say. Yes, if it's a play that we lay minus 140, and by the time you look, it's minus 155. You're like, nah, I'm not taking it. Of course you're not going to take it. The edge is gone. Most of it. Probably a little EV, but most of it's gone. So why would you want to gamble? Wait for the next one. But you're waiting, you look up, oh shit, it's minus 138 now. You take that bet. Absolutely. You're getting the number because I placed my bet. Like I don't, like a lot of times I'll get a DM or a tweet, like someone will say, oh, the line moved 3 points against you. What are you going to do? What are you doing? What do you mean? What am I doing? What could I do? I placed the bet. Like when I send out a play, it's because I placed the bet. I can't just take it back. I got to eat it. I got to eat it. But what I'm trying to say is I urge you to bet it when you find that number. Now, as far as waiting and betting it in-game, in-game's another animal. Live betting is another animal. And I'm starting to dabble a little more with it. I'll be honest with you. I actually talked about that this week in one of my UFC shows. But again, I'm not urging guys to do that. If you find it profitable, by all means. And here's what I mean by that, because it happens to me. I told you, I do my own trading because I've taken the education, almost completed it. And this is the first year I actually opened my own TD Ameritrade. And in that account, I'm just making my own trades, not the trades I make with the group. Okay. And in that one, okay, I'm making my own trades. Now, the one I'm following a group that does a hedge fund. What I do is I follow their trades, day trades and swing trades. Now, sometimes what happens is I miss it. He'll say, okay, take a 1/5 position on Google long at $120 at 120. Okay, I'll look. I'm like, damn, I missed it. It's 121. So I don't make the trade. But I look 5 minutes later and it's down to 118, 117. I trust my guy. I'm in. That's when I usually make my most profit, to be honest with you. When the trade goes a little against him in the beginning and I get a better number than him. The negative is that sometimes I miss it. Like the trade goes his way immediately. So that's why I don't urge people to wait till the game starts, because a lot of times if you do that, yeah, you'll get a better number than I had. 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, 20 minutes in. But a lot of times you won't. You'll miss the trade. So again, that's on your own discretion. I try to keep things as simple as possible. It's like I explained with card counting. Yes, I am efficient in a level 2 card counting, and I even became efficient in a level 3 card counting system. I'm probably not efficient in it today because I haven't practiced it in a decade, but if I put 10 minutes a week of work into it, I think I would be very proficient in it once again. With that said, I never used it. I never used a second level counting system or a third level counting system because the opportunities for mistakes were greater. And any mistake made eliminates part of that edge. So even though I gain an edge by using a tougher system, that edge is gone by any mistakes I may make by using that more difficult system. And if you go up to a level 3, yes, you're going to grab every penny of EV. Like if you're doing a level 3 count and memorize all 128, 140 deviations from basic strategy, you will suck out 100% of EV from card counting. But being able to recount that at the table in real time with pit bosses sweating you, the eye in the sky on top of you, the dude next to you smoking and drinking and cursing, the cocktail waitress talking to you, the dealer eyeballing you, and you're wondering, are they going to toss me? If you're going to recall that much that quickly, you know how fast hands go, and not make any mistakes and be able to put in 8 hours, 200 hands per hour, 1,600 hands in a shift and not make a mistake, you're smarter, you know, have at it. I figured it's not worth the trade-off. I will stick to a level 1 count and I will do it flawlessly. I will be perfect at it. I will never make a mistake. I will be able to stand behind and count down 2 tables while I'm having a drink and talking to somebody because it's that easy. And that's what I went with. And you see the results. Go to my Twitter. They don't want me playing blackjack. And that's with a level 1 count. Simple level 1. Simple level 1. +1, -1 with a side count of aces based on what part of the napkin my drink was on. That's how I side counted aces. I put my drink on the corner of the napkin, and that was my side count for aces. That's all I did. And that thrown out of $1 billion casinos for using a level 1 count and side counting aces with my drink. That was the extent of the card counting. So that's why I say don't make this harder than it needs to be about trying to find finagle ways to get that extra percent, that EV, that better line here. Like, keep it simple. I'm going to send out a side. I'm going to send out a total. I'm going to send out a prop. It's going to be a good trade. Log into your books. Hopefully you start to see the times that plays start to come around. If you're free at that time, stay logged in around that time, or stay, give your time, be free in that hour where you see. I try to keep it around the same times. That's by design. So the guys that are in this room know if they're around their computers around that time, that's when most of the stuff's coming out. Not all the stuff, but most of the stuff. And take it and bet it. If the line's there, you make the trade. If it's not, you don't. In time, over time, you make enough of these trades, your numbers are going to reflect mine. If you're betting 25 to 125, you'll be up that much. If you're betting 100 to 500, you'll be up that much. Just look at the Twitter. Those are the numbers. That's the math. That's not opinion. So let's not make it harder than it needs to be. If you miss a number and it comes back, and take it. If you're have an opportunity where in game you have a better number, take it. If you think it's a good spot, you know. But if you don't want to have to figure that out, just don't make it harder than that. Don't add that to the equation. Simply fire on those sides that you're able to get, and I promise you, there will be more than enough. Please don't ever apologize for any questions. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. James, never, ever, ever, ever apologize. And I talk freely to you guys like I talk to my friends. Listen, I come from another era where we used to tease each other. Like that was okay where I grew up. Like everyone had nicknames and pretty fucked up ones, and no one took it seriously. Like we were okay with it. Like bullies, you got bullied. That was just part of growing up. Back in the 80s, 90s, in our era. And what I'm saying, why I say that is, don't like I'm good with it. Like don't ever worry about insulting me or me taking things out of line. And please, you do the same. If I say something that offends you, ask me, because I'm probably not trying to offend you. I'm probably just speaking to you like I'm talking to my friends, where they understand, like you could speak freely, like you don't have to be proper and shit like that. So please understand, it's out of respect that I'm open and speaking to you guys so freely, and don't ever take it as condescending. Don't ever take it as a question that I think, oh, that's ignorant. Never. No, that's foolish. That's lame shit. Not asking a question is ignorant. That's ignorance. Not asking 20 questions when you have someone that has the knowledge that you're trying to acquire, when you have that opportunity, that's ignorance. Taking advantage of that opportunity, that's smart. That's what I do. I try to do that with the guys that teaching me how to trade, and any of the sharp guys that I've worked in the rooms. All I do is talk and ask questions all day. Like, that's the only way you're going to learn, by people that have already done it and hopefully don't repeat their mistakes. Yes, please, WagerTalk moderators, share all that upgrading stuff with our people. I want them to get the best ROI possible. And the way to do that is by making sure the package is as cheap as possible. I'm not trying to upsell you, I promise you. What I'm trying to do is make your long-term cost cheaper. I know sometimes it sucks coming out of pocket all at once. I was actually even doing that with the trading room I'm in, where I was doing it monthly because it's expensive. And with the education, it was really expensive. And I'm like, I want to have that capital at my disposal. After doing it for a year and realizing, dude, you paid like 20, 30% more than you would have. You actually lost capital. You would have had more in your bankroll if you would have just took advantage of the yearly discount. And I swear to you, I just did in May. I paid for the next year because my thing was up. And I was like, I'm going to bite the bullet and pay for the year, because I want the highest ROI and make it cheapest for me. Again, I know it sucks having to come out of pocket at one time when it's more. But over the long term, especially if you're doing it right, if you're doing it right and bet sizing correctly and you have the bankroll, it will be profitable for you. Like, that's why I'm urging you to do it. It's worth it to you, I promise you. If you don't have the bankroll, don't. I don't want you paying for a year subscription and not being funded for a year. Please don't do that. I don't want you to lose money doing this. Go week by week, month by month, see how things change for you, or don't even pay for a subscription. You know what I mean? Learn outside of here, and save some capital elsewhere, like I did. Like I said, I bartended, I drove a cab. I've done a lot of things, man, to build capital for bankroll. Like I said, I have a Harvard education in sports betting and gambling because I lost more than an Ivy League education doing that before I became profitable. So there's no shame in that, is what I'm trying to explain. And if you don't have the bankroll to bet with us for the next 6 months, 12 months, don't sign up for a year. I don't want you 2 months from now having a subscription that isn't useful to you. I mean, we'll let these in for free so many times. We're going to make sure we get people in even during football, a week here, a week there, Saturday here, just so they could enjoy it and pick up some knowledge. But it isn't for everybody, and this isn't an insult at all. 5 years ago, the room that I'm in trading in now, and the education I paid for, I was not in that position to do that with equities and stock and commodities and crypto. No, I wouldn't have been able to afford it. And if I would have paid it, it wouldn't have been profitable for me. And I don't want that. I want this profitable for you. So that's why I said, even if it's me and one other person on the other side of this, I'm good with it. I will make sure that one person is profitable December 31st if we follow our rules, if we follow the rules. And then January 1st, we re-up our bankroll, we re-up our units, we see what we're going to bet over the next 12, and we fucking do it again. But like we're doing now around June, we check back and we see, what have we done? Where are we at? Are we behind? Are we ahead? How do we reassess? Because again, I have accountability to each and every one of you. And as you saw, if there's action, someone had asked about volume. Yes, someday, you saw last Saturday, we had volume. We had MMA, we had some baseball, we had some stuff. It turned out to be a great Saturday. Next day, what's it called? We didn't have much, nothing. Again, if I'm as a tout salesman, I'm supposed to, after a 5% winner on Saturday and crushing like we did, I'm supposed to tweet that out with a link to a package for Sunday, and more importantly, probably a 5% play, or at least a couple 4% plays with some nonsense written on it. Like, that's what I'm supposed to do, because you have no idea how much I would sell in like 60 minutes after coming off a Saturday like that. I can't do it, man. I just can't do it. Again, I'm not saying I'm a better person than others at all, because I sold picks when I wasn't even a winning bettor, and I apologize for that. I was trying to win. That's not what I'm saying. And I even had access to winning information. I just didn't have the risk management down. And that's why I stress it over and over and I'm repetitive, because it don't matter. The picks will not matter. The picks I share will not matter unless you manage risk correctly. So let's just stick to that. Let's go. Do I ever jump on a line with drops? Baseball. I'm not really sure what you mean. I don't have to have multiple factors to place a bet. That's why you see I don't fire 1% plays. I've learned that with multiple factors, I have higher success rate, and that's why the 3%, 4s, and 5s do the most. I have 3, 4, and 5 factors that all line up, and kind of do that the same way when I trade charts with stock. I look for multiple factors. The more factors, the higher rate of success. So I won't jump on a line just because of a line movement. Okay, yes. All right, 1-0 Seattle. I'll take it, Rob. I love it. I love it that when guys that are watching scores, and you guys that watch the games, God bless you, man, and are checking this stuff out. I swear, you guys aren't going to. I'm not. This isn't a brag, but it was till I logged on here, and because I logged into an account to check on the prop bets that I shared in the beginning, the NBA prop bets, that I saw the account balance go up, that I said, oh shit, we hit our 5% play this afternoon. I didn't check. I didn't want to even look. I don't want it to affect me at all. I look at scores the next day when I do my paperwork, because I know what stops me from making money doing this, and it's my demons, and that's emotion. When I let emotion get in the way of reason, it costs me money. So I've learned to eliminate that from the equation, and I just don't watch games. I don't look at scores. I don't let it affect me, because right now, after we get off here, I'm going to look through my charts and set up tomorrow's trades. I made a bunch today. I'll share them with you at the end, the ones that want to stick around. I mean, like 6-figure trades I placed in shorts against some of the hottest stocks, and I'll share those, and cryptos. That's what I'm going to end up freaking doing after this. That's just what I do. So again, as far 4-0 now, attaboy, let's go Seattle. Cheer them in. That's the only reason I don't, because I try to put in as much work as I can, and I'm just an emotional guy. You guys see how it is. I'm having a nervous disposition. That's how I'm built. So I try not to let anything that's going to emotionally influence me get in there. That's why I don't watch pregame shows. I try to stay away from that stuff. I don't want to be biased. I don't, even with the fighters, because again, when you like someone, it's hard to then fade them. I try to separate myself from all of that. When do you suggest increasing your unit size? I'm currently at 50 per unit. Good for you. Good for you. Good for you, Mario. Good for you. Here's when good for you, man. He's up to $50 a unit. God bless you, man. God bless you. I don't know if you've been with me the whole year, if you're up to 220 units or so, if you're up 10 dimes, man, God bless you. I hope you are, brother. I hope you are. Here's what I would do. You want to increase your profit. You don't want to lose your gains. This is the balance that we need to manage. That is why this room is so important. We need to grow our portfolios without risking our gains to this point. We're up to 120 units. Now, this gentleman's bet $50 a unit. Let's just say he's been with me from January 1st till today, and he's done every single game just the way I said, nothing else, nothing less, nothing more. He got down on every single one. He's up 240 freaking units at $50 per unit. The man's up 12 dimes. He says, you know what? It cost me a dime for the year. I'm up 11 dimes. What do? Do I increase my bet size? Because now, if he goes to $100 a unit, if we lose half of that, okay, he's now lost that game at $100 per unit. Now he's taking double the risk. Here's what you need to do. When your bankroll has increased, and like I please, and I know this is very hard. Some of you will never get there. Some of you will. And those that do, I promise you, it is worth it. If you are able to separate your bankroll, and I really mean separate it from the rest of your life, don't use it for anything else. This is your business. Your business is, I'm a sports bettor. I'm a trader. I invest in the sports betting market. That's what I do. And the only expenses that get paid out of there are expenses for my business. Otherwise, all the capital goes towards my business. If you can do that, then you see what you're up already. If your bankroll's increased by 50%, I would increase my bet size by maybe 25%, maybe 20%. That way, I take advantage of the bigger bankroll, but I don't take on so much risk in such a short period of time to risk all that gains that I made in 6 months. Like from $50 a unit, I would go to $60 a unit. That's fine. Seriously, 60 a unit. That's a big increase. That's a 20% increase on your unit size. That's going to exponentially help you grow. Because if you were going $60 a unit instead of 50 a unit, let's just do the math real quickly. We have 200, let's say 240 units times 50, you're up 12,000. 240 units times 60, you're up 14,400. Again, 20% more. It's a lot. That's a lot. 20% more by increasing only $10. Because then, Mario, at the end of the year, brother, we do 6 more months of this. If I stay focused, you guys keep me focused. If you got an ace that's focused, doing nothing else, you don't see me doing nothing but wanting to make trades and make money, you guys will take advantage of it. I promise you, we'll do some damage over these final 6 months, some real damage. And I'm so zoned in. That's all I'm doing right now. Nothing else but trying to stack. So, because I have a plan in my mind. Now, at the end of the year, you may get that to 75. All of a sudden, you increased your business by 50% because last year's business bankroll was $50 a unit. You get to 75 in 1 year, you've increased your business. It's grown by 50%. Dude, you increase your business by 50% in 1 year, any business, you're a huge success. You just follow that out 1 more year. Now, 2 years later, you've doubled your business. Most businesses take 3-5 years to get back to even, just to get back to even, to get back their original capital, their bankroll. And then they start making profit. I'm telling you, this offers you the opportunity to exponentially grow your bankroll. But you know why 99% of sports bettors and investors don't? Because they trade with emotion. They don't trade with reason. It's just, again, that's why these chats are so important, to make sure we don't, and this is the most important, is going to be when we're losing. Right now, this is easy. We're winning. But this is easy chat for me to do. I come in here, there's no pressure. God bless America. Everybody's happy. It's when we're losing that it's going to matter most, because we will lose. It don't matter. Who cares? We're going to lose. Everybody loses. We're going to win overall, but we're going to have some losses. And that's when this is going to be so important, because it's what you do when we lose that's going to determine whether you are winner when it's all done. It's not how you handle yourself when you win. That's the easy part. Everyone knows how to handle themselves when shit's going good. It's when shit goes bad when things are going terribly, how you handle yourself, that's what separates a profitable bettor from a losing bettor if you give them both access to winning info. The guy that's going to win and the guy that's going to lose, that's going to be the difference maker right there. Right there. And the one that handles the losing correctly. Because the winning's going to be easy, man. We're winning right now. We've won. I've had to come in here the last 3 weeks and be like, oh, we've added profit. Oh, we've added profit. Oh, we've added profit. Yeah, it's easy to do. It's when we've gone backwards. Can you still stick to 1% on a 4% play? Can you still stick to 0.75? Because you're never as high. The one thing you got to remember, and I learned this with card counting, based on standard deviation, you're almost never going to be as high as you are at one point. Meaning, especially when you get in a hot streak, you're going to go up in a straight line, but you're always going to come back. Remember I talked about consolidation last week before the next step up? But a lot of times then it's going to come back down. Like that peak was above where you should have been. You are going to come back to earth. And that is when, if you don't manage risk correctly during those times, all that profit's gone. And now you've lost money instead of being profitable, even though we're profitable. And I don't want that to happen to you. So please, if you've been with me since the first and we're 6 months in and you've increased your bankroll, like we've said, that 50%, I say you bump up 20% because I'm only going to be more selective and we're only going to get more markets, which means better, stronger positions over these next 6 months. And I think taking advantage of it is a good idea, Mario. I think it is. I just don't think doubling up is a good idea. I don't think going up, 50% even is a good idea. I think a nice 10, 20% move and you're golden, brother. You are good to go. Line drops and you see a line with a better picture on the amount. Yeah, I don't, Rob, I'm not trying to guess. I'll be honest with you. As far as jumping on a line, like when I see you say, like, what I mean is when the line drops and you see a line with a better picture on the mound and think it might move, like the Pirates game today, should you jump immediately on it? And my advice is, yeah, definitely. If you like that side, that's what I'm trying to do. The problem that you got to remember is I'm searching for confirmation. Like I told you guys, tonight I'm gonna have I already have tomorrow's WNBA. What the lines, the leans, side total are. If the groups come in on, Rats came in opposite me on a WNBA play today. We were already in. We'll see what happens. We were on Indiana. Raz is on Seattle. It's going to happen. And I would have got a better line if I just would have waited an hour, because within an hour, Raz was on the other side. Again, there's nothing I could do in those spots. Just got to ride that out and hope we're right on that one in the short term, and he's wrong. If he's right and we're wrong, it's going to be a losing bet. Nothing I can do. What I mean is, by looking for confirmation, is Miami, I wasn't there yet, or I would have fired immediately. That's why you see sometimes I'll send you bets a day in advance, 2 days in advance, a week in advance. I sent you this UFC a week in advance, expecting the line to move. So yes, 100%. If you're confident, or if you think it's even more likely, not even confident, if you think it's more likely that the line moved, that it gets worse for you by waiting, you don't wait. Fire. You're going to be wrong sometimes. That's the price you pay for getting out ahead of the market. It happens to me. It happened to me because of Raz this morning. It's going to happen to me in the NFL, where we come in on the side, and then a Billy Walters rumor total comes in, or a side comes in, and we end up with under 46, and the game goes off at 45 or 44, 44 and a half. And we could have got a better number. That sucks when that happens. But when you look over the totality of 5, 10, 100,000 bets, more times than not, we're on the other side of that. And that's the best you could hope for. Even if you're 51-49 getting the best of it, you're on the right side of it. I think we're a lot better. I think we're more 70-80% on the right side of the line moves, or no move at all. I think maybe 2 out of 10 times does the line move against us. Again, that's opinion. I don't have the data and numbers in front of me. I will always tell you if something's an opinion or a fact. And so far, that's an opinion, just from what I sense as far as that. Next up. Go. Damn, Mario, 14 times. Please hold on to that. And you are guaranteed to hold on to that, Mario, if you don't up your bets to $200 a unit. If you don't go to 200 a unit, they'll never get that money back. It's yours. It's yours, bro. It's gone. There's nothing they could do about it. You took it from them. You beat them for it. The trade's over. You cashed out. The only way they're getting that back now is if you make a mistake. Like I said, the only time I lost money is when I made the mistake. It wasn't the market's fault. It wasn't my source's fault. It wasn't the team's fault, the judge's fault, the line's fault, the card's fault, the dealer's fault. It was always my fault. Every time I lost money, it was my fault. And that's why, Mr. Mario, I swear to God, I'm so happy for you, man. That you're one of the 1%, 0.1% you're of the planet that could say they are up money betting sports. Walk into the sports book of your choice, Mario, tomorrow morning. If there's 100 guys there, you are the only one statistically that can say you are up money betting this year, that has positive lifetime earnings. If you do, or at least this year, less than 1% are profitable. You are. Don't give it back to them. Go to $60. Let's get that up to 20,000. Let's get that up to 25. Let's go a little higher. Next thing you know, we're at 30, 40, 50. Now we're at 50. You know what? Maybe you take 20 of that and you invest it in something else. And you increase your bankroll here. Your bet size is nice. And now you have some other things going on. Maybe you invest in some real estate, some assets, some crypto when it's time, some stock when it's time. Like, you start acquiring other channels of income. Now your business of sports betting creates other avenues of revenue for you. That's my goal for you guys. That's what I've been doing. I put in Masterworks and at art, which appreciates really well. And that's my goal for you guys. So please, 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 you're on your way, man. You are on your way. Don't thank me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mario, for your trust. And more importantly, thank you for having the discipline to at least try to do it the right way. And then you could have told me, you know what, bro, you're full of shit. You're full of shit. I followed it for 6 fucking months. I have over 1,000 bets. That's a statistical significant sample size. And I lost money. Answer for that. Then I have to talk about it, man. Right here on video with all my followers and WagerTalk, then putting it on YouTube. I have to cop to that. I have to admit to that. But that's just not true. We've been profitable. And the reason this was created is because I've realized not everyone has. And that needs to stop. That needs to stop. And we need to differentiate people that actually are using the sports betting market as an investment, so they stop getting burned by sources of information that can't win for themselves, let alone win for you. They're not even profitable for themselves, and they're going to win for you. Are you kidding me? That shit needs to stop. I've seen too many people lose too much money on buying fucking losing picks from losing sports bettors because there was a hot streak and they hit that emotional string of that guy, of that man or that woman that maybe has a bill coming up, or maybe is down with their bookie, or maybe just bet a game that they bet a little more than they should have, or they went to a game with their friend and they wanted to put $100 and now they don't have it to pay, and they see someone's 10-0 and touting how great they are, how they have their fucking lock for Monday Night Football, and how they're undefeated on Monday Night Football this year. Like it matters because it's only week 5, you fucking idiot. Who cares that you're 4-0? But they're bragging about it anyway. And this poor part, they don't know. They don't know better. They're betting $50 and $25 on a game. once a week. They're novice bettors. It's not their fault. They're not dumb. They're not supposed to know this shit. They don't teach you it in school. What is there, a sports betting class in school that I didn't know about? There's not. There's no risk management in school. You have to go to college and pay for those courses. They don't even teach you that stuff that matters. So I don't fault the buyer. I fault the industry. But it's the industry that needs to change. But you need to hold us accountable. If you keep buying that shit, that's not holding us accountable. And I get it. It's hard to turn away to not FOMO. It's hard not to jump on Bitcoin right now because you see it. Oh, it went from 26, it's back to 30. Oh, I'm going to miss it. You know what that is? It's exit liquidity. That's all it is. It's called exit liquidity. For those institutions and those wise bettors, buyers that got in at 25 and 20 and even at 26 to sell at 30. Someone has to buy at 29 and 30 for the guy at 27 to make money. And how's that going to happen if they don't stir up the pot by letting social media believe that the next bull run's here, that Bitcoin's going to 60,000 again, another new high by the end of the year. It's going to 100,000. Are you kidding me? Have you seen the economy's numbers? Did you see what just England put out yesterday with their inflation? And they had to raise rates by 0.5 percentage point this morning? You don't think that's going to carry over here? Do people have any idea what's coming with the economy in the next 6 months? But with people's emotion, I understand why they're buying Bitcoin. It's not their fault because I did it. I got burned because I wasn't following the charts. I wasn't looking at what mattered. I was following emotion and the crowd of the hype, and I may miss out on it. Oh my God, I could be a millionaire. That kid's 20 years old. He became a millionaire because he bought cheap. Those are all the shit that costs us money over and over. And here's what's going to happen. Mark my words. Someone got out at 26, 27 because they read the signs and they realized, yes, it's going back down. And now they saw it go up to 28, 29, 30, and they're like, oh shit, I got to get back in. So they're going to pay $2,000, $3,000 worse to get back in. And then when it comes back down, they're going to have to sell. They're going to sell it again at a loss. And they're going to keep repeating that process because all they're doing is chasing the FOMO, the fear of missing out, that they may miss out on Bitcoin going to the next 100,000. Where is it going? Again, we're going to do this right now. I'm sorry. I am sorry. We need to do this right now. That's this important. We're going to pull up the screen, and I'm going to pull up the chart. This has to be seen. This must be seen. Here we are. Hold on. I love you guys. All right. There you go. There's my screen. Okay, as you can see, you know why I got biddy up here? Because I just bought a bunch of biddy. That's the ETF. That's a short on Bitcoin. Yes, that's what I did because I expect Bitcoin to. Oh, look, it's not at 30,000 no more. Here, let's do some charting. Okay, let's do some charting. This was Tuesday, June 20th. And here's what we've done. It's impressive, right? That's impressive. That's impressive. Looks great. This is why. Here's where people are jumping in. And it's doing what it looks good, right? It went up. It consolidated. Took up another step. Looks like it's consolidating again. Oh, probably going to go up another step, right? When in doubt, zoom out. Let's look at the daily. Oh, wait. It hasn't even gone higher than it was in April. What's all this excitement about? It hasn't even beaten its April high. All it's done is gone up a little bit. From what? This is all it's done for months. Let's zoom out a little further. You see where I have my bounces here. Let's look at the weekly. That looks like it's still dropping to me. That looks like it's still dropping to me. Let's look at the monthly. Looks like it's still dropping to me. Look, nothing's going to keep going down in a straight line. You're going to see consolidation. You're going to see variance. But the bottom line is, unless you bought here to sell here, What's the point? Where do you see in the chart that this next new highs are coming? You haven't even gotten back from the FTX debacle. You see this red bar? Look at all these red bars it still has to surpass. You barely got past that second one. The 3 hours capital. Is this 3 hours capital right here? The 3 hours capital dump? You still have the FTX dump to get through before it does anything. And look at all that scene of the crime consolidation. Scene of the crime consolidation. Dude, this is going to roll over. Be careful. Anyone out there buying double fisted because I'm seeing it, be careful. Do not become exit liquidity for those groups. Please don't do it. Don't do it. That's all they're looking to do. Those are old lines. They're not even trend lines right now. But yeah, be careful with that. And here's what's even more important. When you look at an equity like, let's look at NVIDIA. Okay. Look how NVIDIA keeps going. Bitcoin's a tech stock. NVIDIA's going up 3x. Bitcoin's going up 10%. People are going crazy. Going 5, 10, 15, 20%. This is going up 3x. This is a tech stock. And like I said, Bitcoin's been trading, crypto's trading like a tech stock. And the fact that at the opportune time, it's not following NVIDIA, Oracle, Tesla, Google, tells you so much. Again, be cautious. I'm not telling you not to hold any. Right now, I'll be honest with you, I'm not holding any. I saw that liquid and I got out. I knew I wasn't going to get out at the high. No, I'm not going to buy at the low, but I'm waiting to reload now. Back down here. Here's where I'm reloading. Starting my reload right down here. Till we start getting back down here, there's no interest at all. No interest at all. If it goes a little higher, nothing to be worried about. Again, where's the liquidity? Where's that momentum going to come from? Where's all that liquidity, all that money going to come from? They're not lending money anymore. The rate's gone up from 0.25% to what, 5.25% in less than a year, in 6 months. Again, man, these are different times than 2020, 2021. The only reason I bring that up is because I'm seeing so many people on social media that are diving back in, and they're just diving in at the absolute worst possible time. How often do I recommend evaluating your bankroll to determine if you should increase your unit size? Or, great question, every 6 months, 4 to 6 months at the earliest, or after a 50% swing one way or another. Meaning if you're exceeded a 50% gain like we've done now, that's why I told Mario earlier, we've exceeded 50% return on since January 1st. So you can revisit, or if we had lost 50% through now, and you couldn't replenish, I would say it's time. It's going to be harder. We're going to have to double up to catch up, and it's going to take a longer time. But if you don't have the money to replenish your bankroll and you want to make sure you get that back and stay in action, this is what it's going to take to do that. I will walk you through that. Let's hope that doesn't happen, that don't come to pass. But I will walk you through that if it does, and make sure you're able to handle it. If you listen, it's not a problem. But again, that's when I urge you. Otherwise, don't. You should not be looking at your bankroll to change bet sizes. It's like you're trading, and you should be like, you know what? Let me look at the end of 4 months, end of 6 months, how my business is going. Like, think about it. If you own any type of business, are you going to, with the ebbs and flows of daily sales, weekly sales, are you going to make like big choices? Are you going to make big decisions, huge life-changing decisions based on, of course not, that short period of time. So that's why I think what you need to do, you set your units. I already said, we know what they are. I will repeat it. 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, 1%, 1.25 of your bankroll. Check out my Twitter at Greek_gambler. I showed a breakdown there for $25 to $125 and for $1 to a nickel. You could just fill in the blanks and then it's automatic for you. For the next 4 or 6 months, you never have to even worry about what you know what you're betting. I sent out a 5% play. If you're $25 units today, you knew you bet 125 on the under in Minnesota Boston. That's it. For the next 6 months, 4 or 6 months, then you're going to look. If you're up over 50%, let's reevaluate. What do we do? Do we bump it up 10, 20%? What's a great time of the season? Maybe we go a little more. You know what? There's only 2 months left, and I'm going to take a little more of a risk for to close out this year. It's the playoffs coming up in football. It's the bowl game starting. I think we got we're in a good momentum, so I'm going to increase it a little bit. That's how you do it, but you don't do it again when you're behind the chase, and you don't do it when you're ahead to double up, because that's when you go broke. Remember, if you're only crying and bitching if you're over betting, you know what I mean? It isn't a problem. It's not. Here, no, don't ever apologize. That's exactly, Rob. That's exactly what you have to do, and that's the hardest thing. For some of you guys that are fans, Rob said he's a Yankee fan. I'm sure he's a diehard Yankee fan, and he said he bet Seattle, and because he's here to make money. I love that attitude, and that tells me that Rob's got the discipline to follow this through all the way, and that's the attitude you need to be a winning sports bettor. If you're not there yet, that's okay. Eliminate that from the. Remember what I said? Don't make it harder than it needs to be. If you're a diehard Cowboys fan, you know what? I'm not ever going to fade the Cowboys. If he says anything fading the Cowboys, I'm just not going to do it. When he sends something that's on the Cowboys, I'm going to bet it. How many possible times is he going to fade the Cowboys over the year? How many? They play, what, 16, 17, 18 games now? How is he going to fade? Now, how many possible fades is he going to send? Sometimes he may even be on them. That's how I would do it. If I'm not there yet, like Rob is, where he could separate himself and say, you know what? Yeah, I want the Yankees to win the World Series, but I'd be pretty fucking happy if they lost tonight against Seattle. If you can do that, then you're fine. You are fine to watch the sports, watch the games, and do what you're doing, man. You're fine. Okay. Yeah, Johnny will upgrade you and add it to it, man. Are you kidding me? Let me see. Okay, so you guys, did the draft start yet? Did Brendan Miller go number 2? Do we know? Anyone know? All right. Oh, let me give you real quick some of the MMA. Yes. Because some of the MMA we may not end up confirming, and you guys may end up liking. Again, I told you I work with a couple different groups right now that are all doing well. So let me share some of their stuff because I know they do not mind. Okay. Are you ready? Let me go to the UFC. If you guys want, pull up your betting lines. For MMA. Oh man, Seattle's up 7-0. I just went to the lines. Go Seattle. Go Seattle. All right, we'll take it. Let's sweep today on those. I'm not even going to look though at the girls basketball like it's high school and shit. At the WNBA. Wait till it's over. Wait till the chat's over. I don't like that stuff affecting me. Let's go to MMA. First up, we'll go to Saturday's UFC. I don't have nothing in PFL yet, so let me start from the top. Emmett Topuria, I can already tell you, a small bet on Emmett or nothing at all. Line's moving higher towards the Topuria side. Again, to me, it's a dog or pass situation. These are opposite trajectory of careers, meaning Emmett just fought for the interim title. And he's towards the tail end of his career in low weight class where usually you don't see 38, 39, 37-year-olds fighting. On the flip side of that, you have Topuria, who's young, on a hot streak, up and coming. So opposite trajectories. Otherwise, Emmett would be a great bet, because if you eliminate his last fight with Yair from the equation, it's a guy who's won, what, 5, 6 fights in a row? This line would be minus Topuria minus 200 at the most. If Emmett hadn't fought Yair and lost and taken a beating the way he did. But he did fight him, and that's what we're looking at now. But where the line is, there's no way I would ever touch Topuria, even if I thought he's going to win. Like, yeah, he should win this fight. Minus 350s, they usually do. At least the market's saying they have close to an 80% chance of winning. So, yeah, they should win. But I don't think there's any value there at all. Hebas Barber, I can tell you, Hebas got steamed. Sharp money on Hebas at minus 150, or even up to like minus 170s. I know there was sharps laying the Hebas side. I can tell you, Nick Kalikas disagrees. He likes the Macy Barber side. One of the sharp guys that I do respect, that I know is plus EV in MMA for certain. So again, anytime I know someone is a winning bettor, because there's so few of them, I'm going to respect their opinion. So you got to factor that into the equation. Also, the under caught some steam, and you saw that earlier today, as the over was a minus 250 favorite. Now it's only a minus 200 favorite. And I actually liked it. I think I talked about it on UFC on the Line, which we taped a week early, 2 weeks earlier, actually, with the last UFC show. We just double taped, and there weren't even props out for this one yet. But I thought there would be some value in the under because of the fact you had some recency bias of Barber coming in with 4, I think 5 or 6 straight decisions. Hebas coming in with a handful of decisions, and both below that weight class flyweight, I believe, average. And remember, this is only Hebas's 3rd or 4th fight at flyweight. She was a strawweight, so this is a weight class up. And it's in a weight class where historically close to half of them finish inside the distance, believe it or not, 48% since the start. So I like the under, especially at close to 2-1. I agree with that move a lot. Next, Bruno Silva, Brendan Allen. Silva got steamed. A lot of Silva money, man. I can tell you that. One of the guys I respect a lot also had me bet Silva for them after the adjustment, which tells me the opening line was way off. Usually when an opening line gets hit with a few limit bets and it moves that significantly from a minus 300 to a minus 155, you're almost never going to see any kind of dog action. And here, once a little favorite action came in and got it up to like 170s, 80s again, you saw, again, some dog money. So even though Brendan Allen's red hot and back-to-back performance bonuses, if I'm not mistaken, seems like there's a lot of sharp money that does not expect him to win this fight on Saturday night. Next, Neil Magny, Philip Rowe, another where I think it's a class situation where it's just the class of strength of schedule for Magny compared to Rowe, even though, again, trajectories of career where you have Rowe coming in with 3 straight wins after having lost his debut. Magny haven't had a long career, haven't faced everybody. A lot of steam on Magny. He got bet at a coin flip and got bet again at minus 150. So obviously the thought was he should win this fight close to 2 out of 3 times, near that 200 range. That's why we're seeing that minus 170 as it sits. Next, Austin Lane, Justin Tafa. A lot of randomness. Again, the heavyweights, not much of a history in Lane, just a finisher, you know. But that's pre-UFC. And you see that a lot with the big guys, where everything's a knockout. And then they get to the UFC, and it's a step up in competition, and it doesn't come as easily. But with this one being favored minus 200 to go under 1.5, he's probably going to carry that finishing power with him into the UFC. I haven't touched this fight. I think it's a dog or pass situation. I don't have enough confidence to lay 2-1 on Tafa in this kind of what should be a fight that ends in a finish, some randomness involved there. Then Santos Onama, flip-flop of favorite. And I can confirm with certainty Santos is the sharp side. Now, I'm sure all of you can confirm that by seeing the line move. But what I'm here to share is that it's not like he got just bet as a dog. Santos got bet as a favorite as well. Sure, he opens as a plus 220 dog, plus 170, got down to even money. Yes, that's when you saw some limit bets come in on Santos. But they also came in at minus 130, 150, 160, 170. That's why he's a minus 220 favorite right now. So a lot of sharp money on the Santos side as well as the under. So you may want to look at a Santos inside the distance prop as a small sprinkle because there is sharp money on both. They are wise guy, definitely steam moves there. You could just tell by the line move alone. Next, Turman Brown. You know, I'm on the Turman side. Not a big bet, but it's just a winnable fight for him. If he's able to apply that grappling, put some pressure on Brown, who's, 6-7 years older now, he's going to have a nice reach advantage, but he hasn't faced anyone. I think one opponent throughout his UFC career, he's had a long one that averages as many takedowns and takedown attempts per 5 minutes as Turman does. So if he could turn this ugly and extend this fight at 2-1, it was just too good to pass up. So a small bet on Turman. Also, Rebecca Radzhabov. Loic, I like Loic here. I do. Would have liked a better number on plus, and that's why I'm kind of sitting back, because I thought you were going to see the Rebecca money come in from the public, and we were going to be able to get Radzhabov at a good dog price, because his record doesn't look all that impressive until you dig in and you see the strength of schedule and where he fought before UFC. Ton of experience he's coming in with, and I think it's a dog or pass situation. So if they keep betting this up on the Rebecca side, yeah, I think it's maybe worth a stab on the dog. Next, Richie Robertson. I like the Robertson side. Another one where I'm sitting back hoping this line gets bet up. I know some steam came in early on Robertson, but I've been around long enough to know when fighters have a fan base like Richie has, that she gets bet at the window, they're going to come in on her come Saturday. And I think that's going to force this line to possibly start moving back up. And it already did that because it got as low as 125, and now it's back up to that almost minus 140 range. Let's see if it could go a little higher, and I think we may jump in on Robertson. My only concern is if she fights this one from her back. She's comfortable there, and Richie's a dog, man, as far as her offensive wrestling goes. And if she's able to put Robertson on her back and she's comfortable there, she may lose some rounds. That's my concern. But if it's the other way around and Robertson's on top and able to win a round or two, it's a nice dog. I think we'll get that decision. Next up, Rodriguez, Taira. It's the Taira show. Obviously, you saw money come in against them because the open is a minus 600, favorite 650. And I'm sure it took 1, 2, 3 limit bets to get it down to where the rest of the market opened. And by limit bets, I mean 250 to a nickel. Nothing really big. But Taira's the side here. He's legit. He's the A side of this fight. And more importantly, a lot of big things ahead for Taira. He's coming off back-to-back performance bonuses. He's been favored in every single UFC fight. He's only 23 years old. We know the under 25 group has the highest win percentage. This is going to be Rodriguez's first fight as a dog. He's 1-1 in the UFC. He was favored in both, and actually a chalky favorite, average closing price of like near minus 400. So has underperformed the betting market. Again, I'm not in a rush to lay the chalk on Taira. You're usually not going to get value on a guy like this, such a hot prospect, but the line just keeps dropping. And if it continues to go in that direction, they may almost force me to lay some chalk maybe like a small 2% play. We'll see. Next, Emers Jenkins. You already know how high I am on Emers. Again, this is like shorting Ethereum, which I did at 1990 yesterday. Yes, I shorted Ethereum at 1990. I shorted Bitcoin at 1890, excuse me, at 1890. I shorted Ethereum. I shorted Bitcoin at 30,400. Even though I did go long on Solana and a couple other altcoins last week, again, because the market was a little bit too low on them, and got out with a nice profit a few days ago. Now I do expect that to turn a little bit as you're seeing the dominance. So again, I shorted them the same way. You already know what I think about Emers. It's a fighter that should be his record doesn't reflect his skill set, and the betting line reflects just how skillful and capable this fighter is. Look at his betting lines and look at his prior opponents, and it shows you the respect the market has for him, and that's because he's got the skill set for it. The only thing that doesn't back it up is the results. And dig a little deeper, you'll see a split decision that I think went against him badly. And anytime I could get an elite guy that's undervalued, I'm going to do it. And it's hard to do, kind of like it's hard to fade Ethereum when everyone's talking about how we're about to see all-time highs again. But I got to trust the charts, and that's what I did with those. Next, Peak Mariscal, obviously ton of steam against Peak on the dog. Mariscal making his debut. Tough dude, big dude. I'm interested to watch this fight. I can tell you that the under got steamed under 1.5, so it's not expected to go long at all. As far as the side, I think the value's gone on Mariscal now. As a dog, yeah, I can see it. I wouldn't want to lay even minus 110 with him now. We know debut fighters just historically lose more times than they win. And I don't have the analytics or the history to really back him in this spot against Peak, who at least has that UFC experience. Again, I think it's a favorite or pass situation, not one I'm looking to get involved in. And finally, oh no, two more. Van and Zumagulov. Yeah, you can tell they under got steamed here, the under 2.5. And there's some money coming in on Zumagulov, just slow trickling. Most sharp guys had backed Zumagulov in the past because it's another guy where the analytics, the skill set seem to be there, but the results aren't. And that's why usually he would open at minus 170, get steamed to minus 240. That didn't happen. Instead, you're seeing small bets on Zumagulov from those sharp bettors who got burned on him in the past, but just hard, habits are tough to break, and they see the chart says Zumagulov, and they're trying to try to overlook that short-term variance possibly in his record. And finally, Brundage and Dumas. Interesting fight because you have a fight where it was a coin flip, and now Brundage is almost a 2-to-1 favorite. I thought it was Brundage's fight to lose, but I wouldn't lay 2-to-1 in this spot. I think it's a little bit too high. And the under already got steamed also. Again, at 1.5, now having to lay close to 2-to-1, I just don't see how that's giving you the best of it, even if you don't think it's going to go more than 7.5. That's pretty much what's going on in UFC on Saturday. Again, I'll be trying to confirm some as premium plays. I'm only looking to make the best trades, dude. The reason we're up, is because I pass on a lot. I get a lot of information. That's why for you guys that are handicappers and do your own stuff, when football comes, and today obviously there weren't many games to cover, feel free to ask me what I think about sides, totals, whatever. I'll give you all the info I have, and maybe you could find some value for yourself. Again, like I said, I started my own this year, and I'm trading on my own too. Eventually, you have to leave the nest and do some of your own. I get that. But what I do urge you is, remember, experience. Gain experience. That's something you can't learn. You can't buy it. you can't read it. Like I said, I could give you the 10 best books on brain surgery, and you could promise me that you read them all cover to cover 50 times, and I'm still not letting you operate on my head. Like, you're still not going to open me up. That's not going to happen. I need to know you've done it over and over and over and over again successfully. You can't buy experience. That's what you guys need to understand. And my job is to make sure you employ the patience to gain that experience. That's key. Gain that patience for that experience, because once you have it, you don't give it back. That's the beauty of it. You take it with you always. It becomes your intuition. It becomes your instinct. It becomes in your subconscious. So this is, every week you're here, it's experience. Every bet I send you and you place is experience. Every time you're betting a number, getting a number, you're gaining experience. You're trying to learn with every win and every loss. Don't take any of that for granted. All of that is experience. And that's, again, something I can't give you. That's something you have to earn. And you earn that by putting in the hours, putting in the years. And next thing you know, it becomes like breathing to you. It's like that's all you know. And I love seeing so many of you on this journey. A lot of you are in the beginning, a lot of you are in the middle, a lot of you have started it on the wrong foot and are now rebooting. And I love that. I had to do that with stocks. I told you, I'm not a brag. I'm not ashamed to admit it either, though. I lost a lot of money in investment that I shouldn't have. I did because of my ignorance and my willingness to follow the crowd and not apply everything I've learned from sports betting to that venture, which I should have, because human nature is human nature everywhere, like we said, and I needed to practice what I preach, and I fell for that FOMO. I bought those Bitcoin and Ethereums and altcoins when they were at highs, man. I did. I invested money that I shouldn't have. But rather than blame the market or blame the social media influencers that I was following, or the tipsters, or the cryptos themselves, I realized I had myself to blame. I didn't educate myself. I didn't know what the charts meant. Now I'll pull up a chart. I'll tell you everything. I'll find top and tails, bottom and tails. We'll find freaking gap trades for you. You pick a company. I'll chart it for you. I'll chart the support and resistance for you, and you could look out at the prices, and when it hits there, buy it or sell it. I can do that now very well. I didn't know how to do any of that. I looked at a chart. I didn't know what any of that meant. That was ignorance on my part, and I went and invested like 6-figure type money into it at a FOMO. And again, that's not a brag. That's shameness. That's me telling you. That's out of shame. But I knew, just like 1% of sports bettors do win, and a service like this one, I knew that there were 1% of day traders and hedge fund guys that actually do trade successfully. And I hunted one down. I did my due diligence, and I paid a lot of money to get educated and learn to trade. And now I am few years later and have more experience than I did then. And 5 years from now, I hope to be a master trader and know so much more. He can't give me that. No one could give me that. All they could do is keep talking to me like I'm doing here, keep educating me, keep sharing that knowledge with me, so that I gain that experience and it becomes second nature for me as well. All right. I believe we have nothing. Okay, I thought we had some action to share in PFL, but nothing there yet, guys. Let me look. Yeah, James, yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen to you when you listen to your friends talking about sports betting now, you're going to realize how clueless they are. Thank you for sharing that. That's exactly how I feel with stocks. I realized how much I didn't know. Like, I was actually investing thousands of dollars, and I realized now I knew nothing. I actually thought I knew something, and there's nothing more dangerous than that. Like, the most dangerous thing is to not know enough, like to think you're right and be so way off. And that happens to a lot of people, I'm telling you. So don't worry about that. Like, let your friends keep thinking it's about what they think it's. If they want to learn, listen to you, try to share your knowledge with them. But most people, this is they like that echo chamber. People that agree with them, tell them what they believe, what they already hear. They don't want to. The most uncomfortable things for human beings is to check their thesis and admit it's wrong. Like, that is so uncomfortable for people to do, to actually admit that your thesis was wrong. It's very, very hard to do. Most people just don't do it. They just rather blame everything else. They weren't wrong, it was the market. They weren't wrong, it was the tout. They weren't wrong, it was the sports book. They weren't wrong, the team just didn't do what it was supposed to do. Instead of admitting, dude, your thesis is wrong. You don't beat sports betting by predicting outcomes. That's not what the game is. That's not the exercise. Like, it may be fantasy, something else. Like, that's not what we're doing here. This is a market. We're trading in numbers. Again, sports is just the vehicle we're using. Crypto is the vehicle being used. Equities, companies are the vehicle being used. That's all it is. And they, unfortunately, don't ever get past that. And they think saying things like shopping around and talking about their bad beats and parlaying, and that's sports betting. Again, man, all I can share is what I know for fact, and I've done this now for a very long time, and I still haven't met anyone that is beat the sports betting market from being a sports fan. Not a single one. Not a single one. Every one of them had to abandon the fandom and learn probabilities and statistics and risk management, and realize that was the challenge. That who cares about the sport is the least thing you need to understand. They're the ones that end up getting it. So yeah, James, that you're going to keep hearing your friends say the craziest shit. I say it all the time. It's the nonsense of gambling Twitter with all the misconceptions out there. There's so many misconceptions. Don't lay chalk. Don't do this. Don't do that. It's all bullshit. That's how you have to think, James. Potential in years. If you actually deep down have that mindset, you're gold. You're set. And you know how quickly 5 years pass? Dude, we're halfway to 2023. At the end of this year, we're going to be 3 years past COVID. It feels like it was yesterday. And we're going to be 3 years past COVID. Time doesn't wait for you to decide you're going to fucking start doing it right. It's going to keep going. But if you decide to do it right and you have that time, it's all it's going to take. The only thing stopping you is that time, is that experience. That where you're going to be in a few years to where you are now, the things you're going to know about teasers, about half points, about money lines, about just bad bets, good bets, plus EV bets. Oh my God, you're going to know so much more. Wow, Brandon Miller just went number 2. I'll take it. I'll take it. Hopefully some of you guys got in on that trade. Good, I'll take it. Again, I couldn't send that out because if I don't think that this room is going to be able to profit from it, at least the majority of us, I don't have control over what books you use, but I have to know it's readily available in the majority. If that's the case, I'm going to send it out. If it's not at your book, please don't complain to customer service. If they can't choose your books for you, if I'm going to send out a play, I promise you, it's readily available in most. Yours just doesn't have it, and that's okay. The next prop, yours will, and that's fine. So yeah, there we go. Good, I'll take it. Yeah, man. I'll give it a minute. See if you guys got any more questions. The main thing, last thing I wanted to talk about, because I actually tweeted it, and it really does matter. And it's, again, it goes back to the concept of being profitable, and that's risk of ruin. You have to eliminate your risk of ruin or make it as minimum as possible. And like I said, the math doesn't lie. The smaller the percentage you bet of your bankroll, the lower your risk of ruin. The higher percentage of your bankroll you bet, the greater your risk of ruin. I'm an advantage blackjack player. If I went to the casino with 500 units and I said I'm going to stay a week here and I'm going to play, that's 500 units. I'm going to bet $100 a unit. Okay, that means I'm going to have what, 50 dimes with me? Let me see. Again, it's been a long day, man. So let's say I'm doing 100 units. I'm going to bring 500 units. Yeah, 50 dimes. I'm going to bring 50 dimes. I need to know going in that there's a 10% chance I'm going to lose that bankroll. That 9 out of 10 times I'm going to double it. There's a 90% chance I'll double it, but there is a 10% chance I'm going to lose it because I only have 500 units. If I have 1,000 units, I cut that to 1%, to where 99 out of 100 times trips, 99 out of 100 trips, I will double my bankroll, but that 1 out of 100 trips, I will lose my bankroll. Even with my edge, there's still that small probability. And that's all I'm trying to share with you, that you control your risk of ruin. I can't do that for you. I can only urge you to make your risk of ruin as improbable as possible. But if you're betting 5% on a play, 3% on a play, actual 3%, like you have a $5,000 bankroll and I send a 4% play out and you bet $200 on it, 4%, your risk of ruin is so high. Like your chances of doubling your bankroll are probably 50-50, maybe even 40-60. Like your chances are probably greater. Yeah, you're going to lose the bankroll than double the bankroll. Again, I don't have that math in front of me, so I never want to quote unless it's factual. But like I said, with blackjack, I can tell you factually that I need 1,000 units to have a 1% risk of ruin based on my edge. So again, if you're bet $25 a unit, that means you need 25,000 to have a 1% chance of ruin at blackjack as an advanced card counter. If you only have 200 units, so let's say you're betting $25 a unit, right? $25 a unit, you're like, all right, let me see, I have 200 units, right? That's not bad. I have 200 units. I have $5,000. Your risk of ruin is 40%. So even with $5,000, you have $5,000. Go to the casino at $5,000. I teach you how to count cards. I show you everything I know, and how not to get thrown out, the best chances to longevity, to gain every edge. I mean, I share everything I have in me so that I know you have about a 2% edge over the house, maybe even a little greater if you find a good game. Anyway, you go there with $5,000 and you say, Gianni, I'm going to bet $25 per unit on exactly your system. You know my response is going to be to you? You have a 40% chance of going broke with my system. That's the math. Yes. 6 out of 10 times, you will double the bankroll, but 4 out of 10 times, you will lose your bankroll with my winning system, the one that they will not let me play with. If you go there with only $5,000 and play $25 a unit, you will lose your bankroll 40% of the time. That's math. There's no way around that. Like, I can't change that for anyone. My picks can't change it. My system can't change it. Like, no matter how advanced of a card counting system I create, I'm not going to be able to overcome that math. That's why it's so imperative that you bet size correctly. And it's so imperative that you don't overbet your advantage, or your risk of ruin increases. And just think of those words, risk of ruin. The risk I'll be ruined. What are the risks you want? Like, what risk are you okay with being ruined? It should be very minuscule, very minuscule. If this is your business and your capital, you should not be comfortable with a high risk of ruin. And yet, every single day, we see a lot of smart people over betting their edge, over betting their bankroll. Real intelligent people, the smartest amongst us, with degrees and all kind of accolades and accomplishments. And yet, you put them in this setting, and all reason goes out the window. That can't happen. I'm here to make sure that doesn't happen. So, let me look one more time to see, are there any questions? If you have any thoughts on Texas as a dog tomorrow against the Yanks, let me look real quick on the matchup. Yankees and Texas. All right, let me, I'll tell you even real quickly where I have the Yankees ahead right now. Bear with me. Let me pull up that game. Why don't I see the Yankees playing tomorrow? Are you sure they playing tomorrow? I mean, it's Friday. Oh, there they are against Texas. I'm like, they got to be playing tomorrow. All right, slight favorite at Texas. All right, 41 and 33. 41 divided by 74. Okay, the Yankees have a 55% winning percentage. They're actually a little below. Okay. 6, 1, 2. Okay, for Texas. Texas is playing better than they should. Okay, that much we know. Texas away is definitely playing a lot better than they should. Okay, so that's a fade there towards Texas. They met earlier in August. Okay, April, excuse me. Texas won 3 out of 4. We like the trend there of the Yankees to get a little bit of revenge. Yankees should be coming in off of loss tonight as well. Let me see the pitching matchup. They don't have a starter yet for Texas. Clark Schmidt's going for the Yankees. Okay, he's pitched good his last few games. He's lost, but he's pitched well. Again, that's what matters to me. He's gone, he's just not getting the W. So they're not hitting for him, man. You may get a team that's motivated to hit for him. That's where I'm leaning. Again, I'd have to dig more. This is just me, a quick scan. Yeah, I'd be looking at, what is a line up yet? I don't see a number yet. I'd be looking to bet the Yankees at home. I'd be looking to bet the Yankees, but we just don't have a pitcher yet for Texas. I think it's a good spot for the Yanks. I think it's a good spot for the Yankees, just off the top. Okay, would I ever consider having a way to get the additional bets that I don't send out to everyone? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, that I get a ton of information. It's platforms like this that are going to allow me to share it. So if we could try to set up some more Zooms, some more chats where I'm working live, or like I said, right after the All-Star break, you're going to start seeing the daily dose, where I start putting out a daily video where I'll probably share a best better. So, but I will share also the plays that I couldn't get, just in case they help some of you guys confirm. But otherwise, the only reason there's not really a way to text them out, because bet this, but this is just a lean. again, man, I get so much information. I try to keep it real simple. I narrow it down to the best trades. Again, I want to share as much with you guys so that you're able to take advantage of other stuff like today, that guy going second, and hopefully that other guy went before the 15th pick if anyone got down over there. But to share everything is just, I would just, if I tweeted, I would just have to tweet it all day, just tweeting information. And I just don't have the time. I'm just being honest with you guys. I just do not have the time to do that. That would be good though. I'd probably get a lot of followers if I just did nothing but send out all the information throughout the day. Maybe that's something to think about going forward. Get somebody here to just keep tweeting. You'd be so surprised, dude. Seriously, every day, the amount of information. Just look at past pictures I've tweeted of a sheet on a Saturday of college football. It'll be the same with college basketball or NFL. There's just so much information. Oh, Burgos under. Andrew likes that Burgos under in PFL. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Andrew. That's my guy. I love that guy. He's moving the lines as we speak. If anyone agrees with Andrew, I know he don't mind me sharing. He likes the under in the Burgos fight. My guy. He's getting them at plus money, man. I'm already seeing that at let me see what it's at right now. Wow, minus 110. Go, go, go. I love it when I see him getting ahead of a number like that. So again, if any guys got a lean there, I haven't worked on PFL, so I really couldn't tell you either way how I feel about that. I don't have an opinion. And I just wouldn't, I don't piggyback again. I rarely piggyback anything without having confirmation or again, that I like it. So let me see anything else I can do for you guys. Again, I'll count back. Any questions? Let me look one more time in case we do have something good. Again, there goes. Yeah, so again, that's how I think I would do it. Just using something like Twitter and firing a Steam, and bettors can use it how they like, and then using the subscription obviously only for that stuff that I consider gold. Maybe I'll start doing that. We'll see. Get some time or hire somebody to send that shit out. Anyway, so we got any more questions before we wrap up? Went around 90, a little more than 90 minutes. Again, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste mine. We will be repetitive with a lot of stuff. We will cover as much as possible actionable. Also, like we did, we had a handful of draft trades and even now this MMA. With that said, how you use the information is on you. Finally, see, limits are low right now on a lot of this stuff. That's the problem you have, that limits are low. What are you going to do? Okay, it looks like we are, okay, Texas plus 105 on DK, New York. I like New York. I like New York, I do. It's 2 a.m. Damn, you're the man, James. Thank you. And we're going to be changing up the times. I see your dedication. I love it. And that's me. I get up 4:30, 5 a.m. every morning because being on the West Coast, I want to move to the East Coast to trade because I trade stocks and I got to be at my desk at 6:30. It's very early. And then with sports and everything, an hour or so in. Anyway, so I love the dedication. And because of that, I will try to use different times to give everyone different chances and opportunities. Except again, when football, we'll do it pre-game. And hopefully, man, you guys that are in those tough time zones are able to join us as much as possible. Because again, I just want to be able to answer those questions for you guys and help guide you through this. Because it's not the hardest thing in the world. But again, a lot of emotion involved. And we all need to support each other. And that's what this room is all about. So if there's nothing else, oh, they took it down. See that? Yeah, Texas hasn't pick their starter. And so much of the early lines are all aimed towards the starting pitching. Like I said, it's so skewed towards that. You could actually take advantage of it. But again, the only downside is most books don't want to offer a number. So that's going to do it. Next week, we're going to aim to do it on maybe if a UFC starts later, maybe we'll do it Saturday leading into it, and that way cover some fights more in detail, or do one earlier in the week since we haven't had one like a Monday or a Tuesday to get some of that. And like I said, before you know it, football is going to be here. Enjoy this time of the summer where we get to just talk more and ask questions and stuff like that. And before you know it, we're going to have nothing but multiple markets to be betting into. So always take advantage of this. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for all your time. Go Marlins. Go Marlins. If they're rallying, go Marlins, man. Anyone that bet it, I really hope they come back because it obviously looks like they're behind. I hope they come back for you guys. Again, I didn't take the trade, but I you know how badly I want you guys to win, and I'll share as much as I can each and every time. That's why this chat is so worth it for all of us. I love you guys. Have a great week. Let's add some more profit, and hopefully next week we get to rewind with another smile, and I don't have to make up some kind of bullshit excuse on why we lost. Just kidding. You guys be safe, and God bless. Guys, take care. All right.